Hi, my name is Jake Koppel. These are my 5 questions that you all wanted me to answer. So, what has me interested in joining farmers and how will I make my impact? I'm interested because I've worked in insurance for about 7 years, and I'm really interested in starting my own business and running it to support me and my family. And I found farmers is one of the best avenues to do so. Um, so really interested in growing my business and in helping people make sure they're protected. The impact I want to make is I feel like insurance is kind of seen down. People don't really like insurance, and I'd like to be able to restore some faith in the industry and ensure that we're protecting people the right way and giving them a better act with insurance and making it so it's a more enjoyable experience instead of just who's this insurance guy, what does he want to do with me. Someone who underestimated me. I've been underestimated pretty much my whole time I've been at State Farm. A lot of people thought I got the job just because I worked with my mom, who wasn't even the agent. She just worked there. But a lot of people thought I was just there because my mom worked there. So I've had to prove myself to not only customers, but also to fellow staff when they've come in to prove that I do know what I'm doing and I'm very good at protecting people and explaining things to people to make sure that they understand what's actually going on. The time I've worked the hardest is probably academically is when I was in college. I switched my major after my sophomore year, and then I still double majored in 4 years and graduated on time with completely switching from mechanical engineering to a degree in economics, which are two completely different things. That was a lot of work, but it was very fulfilling. The hardest I've ever worked in a professional aspect would be we were really, really small when I started, and I had to make 100 calls a day, and that was my expectation, was you show up, you make 100 calls, you answer the phone when it rings. I started right after our big hailstorm in 2018. I think I started 4 days before, so I got kind of thrown into the deep end of the fire, and I was still expected to make my calls out, help people with claims, make sure that we were taking care of people the right way. And it felt good, though, to ensure that people were getting their claims handled, they were getting their questions answered, we were getting their homes fixed, and people were getting what they paid for, and they were happy with the service that we were able to provide. As a manager and you were my team member, the expectations I would have for you coming in is show up every day ready to work with a smile. I don't know how bad of a day you've had, but the customer shouldn't know that either. You need to show up every day and you need to be happy, joyful, happy to be there, ready to go. Secondly, I'd expect you to work hard. I'm never going to ask you to do something I wouldn't be able to do myself and I wouldn't be willing to do myself. So if I hire you and I ask you to make 50 phone calls a day, it's because that's what I would be doing. I'd be making 50 phone calls a day, trying to grow the business, trying to grow the agency, trying to make sure that we're protecting people the right way. So I'm not going to ask you to do something I won't do, but if you come in, those are my expectations. I'm going to lay it out very clear from the beginning. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. If you're not doing X, Y, and Z, then we're going to have a discussion about where we're not meeting our expectations. Lastly, it would be to be professional. However you handle yourself is a reflection on me in my business. So I want you to dress professionally. You don't need to be super professional, but don't walk in a hoodie and sit at your desk all day. Look professional, act professional. Don't use vulgar language when talking to clients. Just be professional conduct all around, because your representation is reflected on me and the farmer's agency at that point. My favorite restaurant is actually in San Antonio, Texas. It's called Brasal. It's a Brazilian steakhouse north of the city a little bit, so it's kind of off in the middle of nowhere. But the reason you should go is it is the best steak I've ever had, and I've had steak in Texas, here, all over the place, all kinds of different cuts and everything. The meat's so good, it melts in your mouth. You get all the sides with it. They have caipirinhas, which are Brazilian drinks made with Brazilian rum, and they're usually very fruity. But drinks are delicious. Service is excellent. Meat melts in your mouth, and you can eat however much you want because it's all you can eat. So highly recommend it if you're ever in San Antonio. Give it a try. But thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate all of you. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Have a great day. Bye bye.